Backlog. Well, it wouldn't be the Backlog Podcast without somebody running late.
True facts. True indeed. I mean, the Backlog Podcast. I mean, we're backlogged. That's really what it is.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit to do.
Facts. But no, I mean, this week it is. Let me turn off the multiple audio sources I have going on right now. This week it's me, August, and of course the Backlog himself, Matt Man. Quintessence had some last minute stuff he had to do. That's cool. That's why it's great having a podcast with three people, because if one person's got to do something, they can sub out and the other two people can tag in. So
yeah.
But yeah, getting right into things. How was your week?
My week was all right. So for me, I started this new job, and since then, my sleep has been a little bit all over the place. I've been working graveyard shift, and I realized that, like, I have not been able to get a regular schedule yet.
Regular sleep schedule or regular work schedule?
Regular sleep schedule.
Gotcha.
Either I am sleeping too much, too little. I'm going to bed, like, before I have to go to work sometimes. Like, I wanted to be able to start going to the gym. That hasn't started yet. And I have yet to be able to stream regularly.
I mean, I think I think part of that comes with just having a new schedule, though, because usually most people, at least certainly in America, but most people anywhere, their schedule revolves around their job. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, that's when they have to be most focused. That's when they have to be most awake. So I mean, in terms of kind of the orbit, it's the sleep that has to catch up. It's the sleep that has to kind of slot in there afterwards. So I mean, to me, it just sounds like you haven't found kind of that new schedule yet. And sometimes it takes an adjustment. I mean, just like jet lag or anything else, especially if it was radically different than what you had before.
Yeah.
Sometimes that takes an adjustment.
Yeah. So that's the. I think obviously this is a big part of it, but like I'm always just really annoyed when I can't follow a schedule.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can completely understand that, because I mean it decreases the ability for you to set control on your life, and as well as set goals and accomplish goals and get the things you want to done. I totally understand that.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that I wish I could never sleep, but then if I never slept, I would still procrastinate into the time I was sleeping anyway. So I mean, there's other issues at play there.
Yeah.
But no. I think it's kind of important to understand that it's kind of that two-way street as to, like, you want your body to naturally kind of fall back into it, but you also have to kind of build those times into your schedule. And a little bit of that is the discipline angle. I know for me, certainly, the more I get older, the more I realize that I need to, it's the ancient, maybe slightly racist meme of, like, you lack discipline. Like, I kind of do when it comes to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, dude, memes kind of used to be racist back in the day. I mean, it was a little, like, they're spicier than they need to be. I mean, it was accepted, but I mean, it wasn't really. Shouldn't have been. But yeah, no. I mean, back on topic. Like, getting sleep is important, and sometimes, as much as you want to stay up, as much as you want to enjoy yourself, as much as you want to do anything else than go to sleep, you have to force yourself to sleep, because it's the only way. Not only you're going to be productive the next day, but it's the only way your body is going to actually, stay sane the next day. Like, I tried working a graveyard shift job once, And I can do late. I can do like second shift. I can do second and a half shift. Like my first job gets out. My current job now gets out roughly at 3 a.m. I
Hmm.
can't do third shift, or at least the time in my life earlier when I tried working third shift, it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting enough sleep based on my current schedule, and I had to quit the job because my life was falling apart based on not getting enough sleep.
Hmm.
So I mean, sometimes you just you have to set your own limits and be like, this is when I'm going to bed, even if it's only for 4 hours, even if it's only for 2 hours. I'm going to try to sleep. I'm going to practice good sleep hygiene. I'm going to like put the phone down, turn the lights off, like maybe like no blue light before bed, no phone like before bed. Set some mood music, set some sexy sleepy time music, whatever you need to do.
Sexy
But
sleepy time music.
yeah, sometimes it's all about making sleep happen. You can't just let it happen on its own. Sometimes you gotta force yourself into it.
I will say that. Okay, so I got to work this morning at 7:30 a.m. and I went
Yep.
home,
Yep.
and for the first time in
I can do it. But yeah.
for the first time in a long time, I was actually able to fall asleep.
Hey.
But I slept for like 5 hours, and
5 hours better than no hours.
right, yeah, which is why like right now I'm tired, and I'm like maybe we should uh, maybe we should do the podcast tomorrow, and obviously that wasn't going to work out. So I'm struggling right now a little bit. Like my body wants to go back to sleep, but I'm just holding on. Like I think the other thing too is I have to, even on my days off, I have to wake up, not wake up, but I have to sleep like I was working. So my goal would be to stay up till
You had
7.
to. I'm sorry, I'm confused by that statement. You had to sleep like you were working, or you had to sleep.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah. So like you had to make sleep like a job. Like what do you
like
how are you saying?
so you know how you were saying my goal usually is to sleep from 9 to 5, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get 8 hours of sleep. So like right now, I'm not going to be able to go to bed until 9 p.m. tomorrow. I suppose that's like what I'm trying to say is I'm gonna have to stay up. I'm gonna have to force it, and
So why would you have to force it? Like, does your body not respond well to sleeping in small shifts, or like, do you think like are you're trying to like kind of like go cold turkey until you can get a sleep schedule? Is that kind of what you're trying to say?
yeah, because
Okay, good,
I
good.
mean, like the problem is once I miss that window of like 9 to 5, if I go to bed now, I'm gonna sleep for like another like 10 hours or something.
True, I got you.
I'll wake
I
up
mean,
tomorrow morning.
yeah, okay, which is not what your goal is because you got
No,
work.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. No, I get that, and like as I said, I've definitely kind of made the mistake of, taking a nap immediately before work, and because the nap it wasn't a nap, it was like a 2 hour sleep before work. I go into work more tired than I would have been if I would have taken like a 20 minute, siesta versus an actual like power nap. I've definitely made the mistake of tricking my body into thinking I would have some time to sleep, and then I had to go to work, and I was even more tired than I would have been if I had just taken like a 1 hour or
mm,
even less. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is a balance. I can see it. As I said, to me that's the importance of like alarms, and of kind of finding a good rhythm. Well, yeah, I totally see what you're saying there.
yeah, yeah. I got this.
Sleep is important, man. I think I don't know if we'll ever truly understand why the body evolved to sleep, other than that it's important. But I mean that's where all the bad gunk gets cleared out of your brain chemically. I think in terms of computers, I think that's also the time in which your brain does like a defrag,
Mhm.
where it clears up all kind of the temporary files that it doesn't need, and saves the actual important stuff. It clears it sorts the trash from the non-trash, and Yeah, it's wholly a recuperative process. So I mean, sleep is important. I kind of wish it were valued more in society, but I mean, there's a lot of good health things in society. I don't think we place enough value on until later. It's worth noting that uh, not only has the U.S. Used sleep deprivation as a form of torture,
Oh
just sleep
yeah.
deprivation in and of itself, as a form of torture,
Yep.
because it is that bad for your body. But it's also one of the few contests that the Guinness Book of World Record has pulled out of the ability to apply for or shoot for, because the effects of not getting sleep on your body, while not entirely understood, are just so damaging to your mind
Mm-hmm.
and your psyche and the rest of you that they don't want to put that through you. It's like not getting enough sleep is just bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Um, and as a society, I definitely think, we teach kids to eat uh their vegetables. We might even give them the why that they need to eat their vegetables. I don't know if we ever give the kids the why of sleeping. We just give them bedtimes. And I think if we started giving them the why, that it's like, bruh, like, yeah, you could hurt yourself by not sleeping.
Yeah. I, I
Yeah.
I don't think it
You-
helps too that I think sleeping is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, it's one of those things because I mean, it's like eating junk food. It feels so good to get a nice sleep, that sometimes you end up overindulging it, and that's the point where it has diminishing returns because just like too much sugar, too much sleep can actually start to become bad for you. You're not moving enough, your brain's not active enough.
Mm.
There's a lot of other things I could talk about. If you're sleeping all the time, you're not probably making any progress on your awake or life goals.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
So
big one.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing. It's a lot of therapists would say sleep can be used as a defense or escapist mechanism, which is a
Mm-hmm.
perfectly true thing and something you have to watch out for.
I agree.
So yeah, there's a balance. There's a balance to everything.
Like I think the thing is like I might sleep at one day I'll sleep like 4 hours and then the next day I'll sleep like 14 and like I've slept for entire days before or even
Yeah,
like called out of work for it,
yeah.
which is not.
Well, I mean, that's not great, but I mean, it depends. Like if you know what I mean. If you're actively going to hurt yourself at work because you're too tired, and it's not a habit, then every once in a while, okay. But yeah, if you're calling out of work just because you want to stay in bed, then yeah, I mean, maybe there's some other issues going on there, and that's something to work on.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
no. I think
yeah,
it's really just me and like how I've always kind of
yeah.
slept, and I've never been able to ever have a normal sleep schedule in my
Well, I mean,
entire life. So
to me, that's why I love alarms. Because yes, like I'm one of those terrible human beings that sets three just to make sure they get themselves up. But I love the utility of just being able to have something that just like will wake you up. You can pick an amount of time you want to sleep, and it'll wake you up. Um,
yeah,
you have to put your big boy pants on once the alarm goes off and actually get up out of bed. But I love the ability to do that. So yeah, I mean, maybe get an alarm that you like, or start scheduling, the sleep shifts that you want to sleep that will be most efficient to you. Like I'm one of those people that can function on six. If you can function on six, maybe you want to start adding for like six some days that you don't have time to get more.
um,
Maybe you want to, as I said, try to play around with it. Try to. I mean, some people actually like go, the full like organization science it up where they actually have like sleep journals or sleep trackers, or like they actually plot out how much sleep they want to get every day.
yeah,
So maybe something like that would work best for you, but I mean,
that's not a bad
uh
idea.
yeah, I mean, there's whole schools of trying to optimize and improve sleep, and the efficiency of sleep and how much useful it is to you. So yeah, maybe I'd recommend like you at least, if not getting one of those like sleep tracking smartwatches than actually like writing up like a sleep journal or like a sleep goal amount where like this is your goal amount for how much you want to sleep every day and go from there.
Yeah. I think that's not a bad idea, and I just like I'm the type of person where like I might sleep 4 to 6 hours, and then the next couple of days, that's when it starts to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like it won't
Yeah,
hurt
well,
me that first day, but it'll hurt me like the day after.
yep, and that's usually how it is. It comes. The revenge comes quickly. It's usually the next day. I definitely find that on days that I've only gotten like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, then that's not the day on the day, but that same next night I'm
Yeah.
hurting.
And but I'm like the type of person where like I'll be like if I don't sleep enough, I'll be at work and I'll be like, where can I like nap when I have a break? You know?
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely. There's been days where I've been a walking corpse. There's been days where I had to slang like 5 energy drinks just to get through my shift.
Oh yeah,
Uh, which can't be healthy either.
that's a terrible
Um,
idea.
but I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get through. But that is not an excuse for it. At the end of the day, I should have changed something up by getting the sleep I actually needed. So yeah, I mean sleep is important. It is like anything else, like food, um like exercise, like fitness, like anything else. It is a resource that you can use to propel you through situations, and if you're not getting enough of that sleep, you're not using your resources correctly or setting aside enough of the resource of having been slept or having slept to function.
Yep. And so that's the thing is my plan is usually all right, I'm going to be sleeping by I get out of work at 7:30, I get home by like 8, I'll be in bed for like maybe an hour trying to get some sleep, and then, by 9 I'll be sleeping.
Yeah,
Which is like that sounds reasonable, right? That's
yeah.
uh and then usually what happens is then I'm usually up till like 12 and
And
or
what was the goal?
9 a.m.
Yeah. No, what was the goal to go to bed by? You're up. So the goal was to go to bed by 9 and you're up till 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, bruh, I mean some of that is just, you know, again, it's to me, as I said, I've talked with other friends about like sleep hygiene,
Mhm.
and some of it is the sleep hygiene of like, what is keeping you up? If you're on your phone, if you're on your computer, then yeah, you gotta close them up, bruh. you gotta give yourself a chance. I mean, like, I don't want to make the comparison, but I mean, when you hear the stories of like, junkies trying to get clean, or I don't want to call them junkies, but anyone who's addicted to a substance trying to get clean.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the first steps they have to take is, getting all of that substance out of their house. And if you keep yourself a small rainy day stash, that's, you're cutting yourself down before you even gave yourself a chance. And the only reason I bring that example up, because it pops in my mind, is because I was watching Euphoria. So maybe I stuff on Euphoria, but I mean, it's a similar idea. Like it's if it is something that is kind of an interest, I'm not going to call it an addiction, but is getting away in your sleep. Then I mean, to practice good hygiene, sometimes it's like, maybe like, 15, 20, 30 minutes before you go to sleep, maybe even an hour, no laptop. What I try to do now is like, as soon as I get out of work, 15 to 30 minutes on my phone, and then the phone goes off. Sometimes even less if I really need to wake up the next day. But like, I really try to cut it to under an hour on my phone, because once it gets past an hour, who knows what will happen? It might be 5 hours later, because I'll get in, like, the longer I'm on my computer, the more I'm going to find something new and interesting to do. Because in the information age we live in, there's always something new and interesting to do. If you dig deep enough, there's always going to be an entertainment thing you can find to do.
Right.
So I mean, you kind of have to just have to kind of, I don't know if you've seen that like 1980s movie like War Games. But I mean, it's the quote of the movie. Like the only way to win is not to play. Like you can't play that game. You just kind of have to zen out of it and just be like, no, I'm closing the laptop and I'm going to sleep.
Are you saying so? Yeah, no, I get you. Discipline is definitely a lifelong struggle for me. So
Same. But I mean, it's not even just. It's more than just that. It's that like set yourself up for success, and
yep,
that one of those is like being able to just put down the thing that's impeding the thing that you really want. You know what I mean?
yeah. The other thing I've had to do is like cut back on caffeine, and
Yep.
like I got to be careful about that because
Yep.
like I didn't realize how if I drink like more caffeine, like if I have two energy drinks, then I'm usually wired for like 2 days or something,
Yep.
and so I gotta chill. I've been chilling on those, and what else? Oh, but I mean, other than like the whole sleep thing, I've been looking into going to a new gym that's
Well,
right out like it's right next to the place I work, and
awesome, actually.
yeah, so the idea is on the days that I'm not streaming, like 3 days a week, I'm gonna get out of work and then head over to the gym. Uh, then just get my workout in first thing in the morning, and then go home, go to sleep, wake up, whatever, and then uh, I'm hoping to start streaming before I go to work, which is why I haven't been streaming because I just sleep through that time altogether.
Yeah.
Um, I think it would be easier if I honestly just streamed after I got out of work. Uh, but that's like me streaming at like 8 a.m.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't agree with that either because I think most of the people that are going to actually yeah, so obviously your stream schedule is up to you, but I think most of your potential viewers are going to be at night. Plus, I mean, I think we just talked about it. Like, I feel like the best time for you would be to just get sleep at that period. Because even if you wake up and let's say what time do you get out? 7?
7:30. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go to bed by 8 or 9, sleep till let's call it 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, sleep till about 1. Um, then you have like all mid afternoon to stream, which a lot of people actually have that time because they're just getting out of work and getting
Yeah.
home to watch your content. So, I mean, I think, later hours is definitely a lot better for content if you're trying to make content, particularly for, kind of people of that adult or like at least the 20 to later 30s kind of age bracket. But I mean, as I said, I think the best bet for you would be, as I said, like set some mood music, try to get yourself to sleep, and
Hmm.
then wake up and feel refreshed. A lot of my colleagues that also work kind of like second and a half shift with me, their favorite thing about working the late shift is the fact that they don't have to wake up in the morning bright and early, and crusty for an alarm. You know what I mean? They can sleep almost as long as they want, and still wake up and have day left. And even for someone who works third shift, I mean, even if you sleep like 6 or 7 hours, you wake up, it's still 2 o'clock. I mean, in most states, that's still daylight left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, other than the whole
Set an alarm.
yeah, definitely setting the alarm thing. But other than that, and trying to find like a gym that I want to go to, because I mean, finding a new gym I think is important sometimes because the gym I go to now, I've just kind of I think I'm starting to get bored of it.
What
Uh,
what what kind of gym is it? Is it like an exercise gym? Is it a like you MMA gym? I
uh,
guess I'm not really understanding why, but you're used to the word gym here because I
so
know you do both. So
like just weightlifting
with
and like just regular old standard gym. The place I'm going to right now is like a Planet Fitness kind of. It's the Snap Fitness.
yep.
It's like right down the street from my house, and it's 24 hour. The new place is also going to be 24 hour, but it has more machines and stuff. Like it has like actually free weights, barbell stuff. I can deadlift there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it has like deadlift platforms and stuff. Whereas like I'm thinking that, going to the other place, I was like, I think I'm starting to get bored doing the same equipment over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, and
Sometimes you
then
need to change it up.
yeah,
I get that. Yeah.
um, not to mention, I think the only other thing is that I've been working on doing a lot of editing and uh, working on social media. TikTok's been going pretty well. We just hit like 500 followers, 5,000 followers on TikTok,
Nice.
and we just hit. I think I said this last week, but we hit 400 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
Everything else is kind of well, yeah, kind of suffering, but it is what it is.
One of those things where, like, I think getting better at producing content takes time, and I mean,
Yes,
I wouldn't say so much as suffering is that I think we haven't hit that next evolution in our content to get the more growth we're looking for. I think we'll hit it eventually. I
yeah,
just think it's going to take time. You know what I mean?
yep,
You
yeah.
know,
The I mean, I will say that like I've been working on making other videos and things that are like a little bit more intricate than what I've made before,
so,
and I'm enjoying that. But I mean, I've been trying to like keep my content down to like 30 to 40 seconds because
and that's, I mean, I said that's really going to grow your TikTok. I mean, if you're looking to grow your TikTok audience, that's perfect for them.
well, I mean,
It's
even for YouTube though, with the YouTube Shorts, the thing is that they give you like a minute at max to be able to post things, but that's how I've actually grown the YouTube quite a bit is through that.
nice.
Um, and the thing is that like as a smaller YouTuber, like not being in there during that legacy time of like growth or whatever, it's really difficult to grow right now on YouTube. Um, because it's hard to get eyes on your content.
Yeah, no, I kind of wish that, like, discoverability was treated as a bigger factor in a lot of these content networks. Like, it would be cool if there was a section specifically for new creators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be cool if Twitch had like a new creators catalog. It'd be cool if YouTube had like a new creators section. And like maybe it does, but I haven't noticed it. But like as I think, finding new creators that kind of fit your vibe more definitely needs to start being a focus if a lot of these content networks want to stay interesting and relevant. Because I mean, like I said, I was talking with you earlier today. Like, I love Castle Super Beast. I love the Best Friends. I love their content.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even I've started to get slightly bored with some of their podcast stuff. I mean, granted, their podcasts are just super long, so I mean, sometimes it's just I don't have time to listen to it all. But I mean, finding new content creators that you like and you really enjoy their content is, I think, one of the most fun experiences about this kind of new, amateur, everyone creates media age.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I agree.
I really wish discoverability was a bigger factor in coming out with content, because I think what happens is there's a lot of up and coming talented creators that never really break through
Mm-hmm.
because the upper end of the market is already saturated with established creators.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
really
think
tough.
also a lot of the established creators aren't really evolving as creators because, again, once the pressure's off them to make new content or to evolve, they don't really evolve in content. So you like, as an audience member, I get kind of bored with a lot of established content creators content nowadays too, because they're
Mm-hmm.
not innovating anymore. Which is, kind of a bummer from an audience member standpoint.
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. Like about the YouTube Shorts thing is that is a relatively new thing for YouTube. So it's a way. It's an in. It's an easy in because YouTube will actually promote your shit on there. And
Yeah.
they'll actually like it being a newer creator. So that's why like if I make a video or a let's play that's like 30 minutes to an hour, right? I have to promote that myself because it will get no natural eyes on it whatsoever. Whereas if I make a 30 to 40-second short, then it actually gets like it'll get like 2,000 views, or something like that. Like one of the videos got like 60,000 on YouTube, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
that is actually really good.
yeah. Whereas like
yeah.
if you were to do that on TikTok, you could get like right now I have like one video that's like over 600,000 views. So it's just sort of like it's a different ballpark. Like getting 100 views on a video is difficult on YouTube.
I guess what really annoys me is that like it annoys me that like yeah, it has to be. I'm not saying that. As a, it's cool that YouTube helps you with discoverability for shorts, but like, why can't they help you with discoverability for long form videos? You know what I mean?
Because as you said, like other content, creators have that on lockdown, and
YouTube could create better discoverability. It's just maybe they have no financial incentive to, but as a viewer, like that would keep me watching more if I could see more good new up and coming creators. I don't know. I always like new good content.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. No, I can see that, but
yes, I understand that YouTube wants to not lose market share to TikTok. I understand that they have a vested interest in growing shorts. It's just, it'd be cool if they also cleaned up, their legacy kind of VOD content curation as well.
So here's how I look at it, right? Is you start off with the short form content, and then over time, as you build like a following, you can slowly make the content longer and longer when you have more people that are willing to watch it. You know what I mean?
I can see that, but I mean, there's a lot of creators that never get out of making short form content, and I mean, maybe that's not a bad thing, but I mean, if short term content just turns into just marketing teases, then I mean, if you don't have a product to sell, then at the end of the day, that's not doing anything for you. And by that I mean like I think we can both agree that most people enjoy producing long form content more than short form content. But it's the short form content that obviously drives views the most, because I mean obviously people can go through it the most. It's basically like a mini ad, but in fun format.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would just be nice if like the long form content was also cared about to the same level, rather than like endless throwaway clips. But I mean this is speaking from someone who's still in boomer mode and hasn't actually got a TikTok yet. So
right.
What do I know?
Well, I mean, I can say that, like I said, it's people who do make that long form content, right? They are getting pushed out by YouTube after a certain point. But
what do you mean?
Like YouTube promotes those people. Like, if you're under 1,000 viewers or 1,000 subscribers, YouTube doesn't really help you too much. So just making it to like 1,000 is very difficult. And so that's why, like, you need some kind of an in, which is why, like, I'm like, you see that little hole of like, oh, look, short form content that could lead to, in the future, long form content, which is why, instead of just releasing gameplay footage, now I've just sort of like started to like make videos and stuff like that, like edited videos, and like, doing voiceovers or, reviews or because it'll eventually lead to, making hopefully like 30 to 20 minute videos on a given subject. But it's also like, look at it like it's practice of like, how do you make a video look good? And how to like, practice pacing and stuff. It's like little mini homework, to kind of make something bigger.
also think it's kind of interesting, but we live in this weird time of like unsure monetization. Like, you can't monetize like how do I say this? Like for example, like if you are making a video that you know I guess that's always kind of how it's been, but like if you're making a video that's kind of like an art critique or criticism or uses edited clips or whatever of video games or other content or other stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
there's that whole like what is and isn't fair use copyright law, and that still hasn't really kind of been hashed out well in the US. Like you still have Nintendo sending like DMCA's for things that legally they shouldn't be DMCAing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Whereas you still have like Twitch content creators getting away with playing copyrighted music on stream. And as I said, a lot of it sometimes is kind of left up to the enforcement of the company. Sometimes the company chooses to look the other way with like the whole like Gordon Ramsay, Twitch meta. Sometimes the company chooses not to look the other day, like when Pokimane got banned for trying to watch Crunchyroll on Twitch. I don't know how she
She's
thought that
never
would
not.
fly, but
She's never not
you
going to
know,
be perma banned.
well, no, she didn't get permabanned. She got like suspended for like a day because I mean she's one of their biggest content
It's where
creators.
the money
So
comes from.
yeah, exactly. You like Twitch isn't gonna like cut off its money supply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're obviously it's just gonna be they're gonna go to metaphorical Twitch jail, for a week or for a day even. But yeah, I mean we live in this very weird space of like what should and shouldn't be allowed to be used to make profits on. Um, and I think that kind of needs to be better hashed out in law, both for uh consumers and content creators and even rights holders. As I said, I don't know. There needs to be a better balance somewhere, and we need to start looking for what that would be.
Yeah.
Like I just saw the other day that there's something called like Mubrek or Mockbrek, where people will like make their own entire like Lego designs, like without the Lego catalog. They
Oh
just are
boy.
so good at Lego, they like make their own Lego designs. And
Yeah.
then they sell them to you, which is kind of cool. It's like a mini Patreon for like Lego designs. But even that website had to stop giving out like PDFs of the designs because people were like stealing them and trying to resell them. So they had to be like, listen, like you can't copy it, but you can look at it while you build it. And it's very interesting as to like just kind of what the modern economy is and like what what we consider like what you have to do to be able to be paid for your work. I find that whole thing kind of interesting, and will continue to be interesting in the future as capitalism continues to grind to a halt.
Oh boy.
Because there's nothing else to sell other than NFTs.
All my
But
NFTs.
literally, my man, did you hear Ukraine started selling NFTs to like pay for like
Uh,
shit? And, like, bruh, like it's bad when like you're trying to buy an NFT for a good cause.
buy my backlog NFT.
Oh my god,
Do it.
bruh, it's
You can buy August NFTs.
it's so nuts, bruh. Like man, I don't. Dude, late stage capitalism it's a killing floor, bro. It's nuts.
Pretty
It's
weird.
so nuts. It's well, because I mean, essentially, you have people with so much money,
Mm-hmm.
that money doesn't mean any material mean to them, and then you have people with so little money that they're struggling to eat or get surgery or pay for their insulin, otherwise they die, and it's like woo, this is getting crazy. Like, what was I reading a story about? I was listening to some story about like mobile games, and I mean, yeah, and I said it's not even just that. It's that like some people like we've turned it into a capitalism that like preys upon stupidity, which I mean, I guess money always like a fool in his money is soon parted. I'm not saying uh things are different. I'm just saying that it's gotten more organized and kind of nuts. Like I was reading something about like statistics on the gaming markets today.
Right.
And oh man, I wish I could pull that article up. But long story short, out of every single gaming market that exists, you know what gaming market makes the most money?
The mobile gaming market?
The mobile gaming market.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. Yeah.
I don't. It's too far back in my notes.
I mean, yeah, that's why
but yeah,
Konami
yeah.
stopped making. That's why Konami stopped making video games.
Yeah. Okay. Here it is. Today I learned within the gaming industry, the mobile gaming, excluding advertisements, is worth more than PC gaming. So the mobile game market is $93.2 billion a year.
Yep.
PC gaming is only at $37.2 billion a year. And with console gaming combined, that's $50 billion a year. Mobile gaming is worth more than both of them. So mobile gaming is worth more than every conventional form of gaming.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, everyone has a phone in their pocket. Like that, you know, it's
like. But like, so yes, it makes sense, but like, let's think about mobile gaming monetization models. Think about what these people are buying. They're not buying a Dark Souls. They're not buying a big, expansive video game experience. No, most of the time they're just buying more points to continue to be playing the same game they were already playing, but got locked out because they played all the time. Like, I was reading a story in that same thread about a woman who was spending real world like tens of thousands of dollars just to win at a casino game in the game, except the casino game pays out no real money. So she was rich as shit in the game, but she was giving away all her real money to be fake rich. Like something about that so pathologically preys upon like
a little meta, yeah.
Well, no, it preys upon people that have addictive personality disorders, as well as other disorders that like play these games because you know it sends the happy chemicals to their brain. And I mean, that's kind of what a lot of capitalism has turned into. Same with like NFTs, man. Like you have people throw around millions of dollars, sums of money that could feed like starving families, not just in Africa, but even in your own country. But no, someone needed to sell an exclusive picture of a monkey that is in no way uncopyable.
Smoking a cigarette.
And here we are. I mean, it blows. Like, I'm not saying that like small microtransactions shouldn't be bad. Like, I like some microtransactions. I like that I can go buy like costume packs in Tekken or Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's cool.
Buy a couple add-ons, like pimp my character out, make it look nice. But like, some of the mobile game monetization models are just straight up evil. And it's so nuts in that, you know, I mean, for real gambling where you earn money, there are laws that you have to like print the actual like odds. You have to print the payouts. You have to print how often people can legally win these things, and you actually have to stick to them. Like you get fined if you don't. There aren't any such laws in mobile gaming. You can do whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't actually have to compensate them in real money. I think supposedly some people are trying to get better about that, where like you have to actually write the real odds of like some of the gacha games. But even then, you know, that shit gets changed all the time. There's no rules they have to that they can't change them on you like mid-season. So yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. Like charging people, we're getting to the point where like I feel like it's gonna end up like what is it called? The that Dr. Seuss like Lorax remake where like we're charging people for air. Like we're charging people to exist. You know what I mean? Like did you re-up your yearly subscription for air?
Boy, drink your confirmation canister.
Drink your confirmation canister. Just like, I mean, because I don't think capitalism sees any other way forward, and that's kind of its inherent flaw. Is that things have gotten so lopsided, you haven't realized that like putting money back in the middle is, you know, probably the best way to go about fixing the solution.
Right.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's as I said, man. I can't. When I saw that thing about mobile gaming, I'm like, really? Like, I always suspected that mobile gaming was worth a lot. Because I mean, even if you look at the the mobile game like models in console gaming, like FIFA, any of the sports games with like the shark cards. Shark cards is GTA, but like any like the card packs or whatever in the sports, those games make billions of dollars a year just off people buying the fucking loot boxes for cards. Like all for random odds of getting their favorite player gold status card, which has, slightly higher numbers tweaked in the system than other cards and has a lower drop rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the pay to win model, man.
Well, it's not even just a pay to win model. It's that like when something goes all digital, you control not only its existence but its scarcity.
Yep.
So you fundamentally break all of the rules of conventional economics because you control its entire existence in this realm of universe. You can make it as scarce or as, unscarce as you want, which means, if you have a economy of people desiring that because somehow you've created desire for it, and there's always desire for something, usually, especially if it's rare, and people find it, then entertainment is the new economy, then, bruh, you can print your own dollars. You can essentially print your own dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
But I mean, let me think. I just want to think if there's anything else before I wrap up my week. Let's see. I mean, I've been posting some new videos on YouTube. Go check that out. And oh yeah, I've been snooping around looking for a house.
Oh, cool. Yeah, dude. The rent market, so if you're looking to rent, then the rent market's out of control. If you're looking to buy, the buying market's out of control. So
Yes.
I can definitely see how that's a struggle.
Yeah, it's it not everything is, complete garbage, but definitely a lot of it is.
Yeah.
It's not the best time right now. But there are some good deals on certain houses. But
Yeah.
if you're like a family of 4, boy, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Because like if you're
Dude, no more picket fences. Not unless you're spending $1 million.
nah, and so basically, I think the
Yep.
like for what I'm looking at right now, I mean it's affordable, but if like I had a family, like a big family, I would be worried. Because I don't need a lot. I'm the kind of guy, like, I want to live below my means, and I'm not too worried about, like, having a
You
second
want to live
floor
in
to my-
you want to live in like a sustainable way. I get that.
Yeah, like I want to live in a house where I can actually save money, and I'm not paying more in rent than I would be in my weekly mortgage, or my monthly mortgage. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't make sense.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, because like the thing that's really sad is living in an apartment is a barrier to buying a house for some people. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to be impaired by the amount you're spending on rent to be able to buy a house. You know what I mean?
And I mean, yeah, that's the modern economy, man. Like,
Yeah, like
renting has gone up crazy, just like housing prices, and like a lot of people can barely afford to even rent anymore. Yeah, no, it's gone nuts. As I said, like this country has a couple different housing kind of crises, and they're all kind of coalescing at the same time. I think one of the ones in cities is that they're just not allowing people to build new homes.
Yep.
Certainly not dense population style homes. And of course, in the modern infrastructure, a lot of jobs need, dense population centers because that's where the tech is, that's where the infrastructure is. So that's a mess. You have people that like, I mean, how you expect your barista not to live on the street if the tech worker in San Francisco can barely afford his apartment?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It
Like
is.
it
It
makes
is
no
getting
sense.
ridiculous. Yeah, with the wage deprivation or what is it, the wage
Just the
disparity.
disparity. It's the disparity, and also the market just like price like it's kind of pricing itself out of being a functional market. You know, it's optimizing itself out. I'm not gonna say out of existence, but like it's not even not sustainable. It's that like it's destroying the expectations of there always being available housing for people to move into or live in and afford.
The
Because
American dream.
I mean, you know, there's the classic George Carlin about like they only call it a dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. But like it's making that even more hard to reach for most people.
Yep.
And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they obviously have to start, you know, changing some of these zoning laws and building new homes, but you know, as well as like stop allowing a lot of these companies to just invest in homes and hold them, because that's a big issue too.
Yeah. I mean,
Foreign investors, corporate investors into housing. Like I know Zillow's scheme went kind of tits up, but
what
there
was
was a
it?
period there where Zillow was actually the Zillow, you know, the people that sell the homes,
Yeah.
they were actually the people going around buying up most of the homes,
Oh.
because they were going to try to hold them and see if they could make money on them themselves.
Yep.
It didn't end up working out the way they wanted to, but I mean, if it could have, you know, like should that be allowed? I don't know, you know.
I was looking at, let me do it this way. I was looking at this one house, right? It's right down the street from where I'm living right now. It's $225,000 for the house, and it's not even finished.
Yep.
It's unfinished. You have to buy it as is and then fix it up. Like,
Yep.
talking about missing walls, no flooring, no heating system,
Yep.
fucking nothing. And they
Yep.
want they expect you to, and that house has been on sale for like over 10 years now.
Yep.
And like the fact that they're still trying to sell it for that amount is insane.
It's because I mean, again, it's because they see other people's houses going for that much, and they're like, "Why aren't we selling ours?" And it's like, bruh. But I mean, as soon as someone even puts in an offer that's even halfway close, that justifies, you know, their desire for holding out that long, it's crazy. It's we've created a bunch of crazy feedback loops in our economy. But not even just that, but I was seeing this really interesting thing the other day about a dot like some. I mean, it was a Twitter post, but essentially like there's also this whole thing about people paying like well over asking price and
Hmm?
still being outbid. Like I was seeing a thing about like a doctor trying to pay 100K over asking and still getting outbid, and it's like, bruh, like this new house buying frenzy is only going to get crazier,
Yeah.
because it's really starting to show the disparity in the U.S. economy. I mean, you have people with enough disposable income to buy multiple homes that are
Mm.
just being like they can use it as a passive income source, and then you have the people that are, you know, trying to on their way up, you know, just trying to like, you know, break through, buy their first home, and they don't even have the money to compete with those other people because those other people already are like, you know, 3 home level people. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, like house flipping in general is practically a scam. Uh, and like I'm sure some people do it honestly, and
Yeah.
you know it. But the amount of horror stories that I've seen from people trying to flip a house and then they just did a shit job is like more often than not, which is like there's like literally a saying like friends don't let friends buy flipped houses, and I mean I think it's true. I mean, and
Yeah.
unfortunately it's because of like HGTV and shit that like people are like, well, I can do that myself, and then they go in and they don't realize how actually challenging or difficult it is to make a house, and then they just fuck it up.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, that's an issue right there. Not a lot of people understanding how much goes into, home repair nowadays. Thinking it's kind of an easy process when it is an intensely skill based process.
They're like, dude, I've seen
Um,
like 100 episodes of Property Brothers. I can do this shit. Let's go.
yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Um,
And I mean, even with a YouTube tutorial, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think you're gonna get it right the first time? Because odds are, I hope you're not tearing down your own walls, or if you do, I hope you have the money to fix them. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, yeah, for
When
sure.
you screw up, not if you screw up. But
But at the same time, it's like you were saying, it's that that the wage disparity. What am I saying? Like the wage disparity. Is
yeah,
that
I
the
mean
right?
the wealth gaps. Yeah,
Yeah, the
the
wealth gaps. That's
yeah.
why people are like, oh, I'm gonna save money, do this myself. Which like I said, there have been multiple homes that I've looked at where they're selling them for like a high asking price, and they're not even finished.
Yep.
You just got to do it, and it's like, no, that's not the like. I think the only reason that the house down the road is as expensive as it is because it's in a tourist town. So they think they can sell it to somebody.
I
So
mean, as I said, a lot of I saw a really funny listing of a house that was legitimately falling apart. And I mean,
yep.
granted, this house is posted every year. I think it's like a meme house down in New Orleans at this point. But the house literally looks like one of those houses that like hasn't been lived in like 20 years. Like half of the wood flooring is probably rusted out. There's like visible damage on the outside of the house all everywhere. And they were still asking like I think 150K, if not more. I
The
think it was
fuck?
actually more. And it was like, bruh, I mean, it's, it's, yes, the economy is crazy, but like, it's one of those combinations of like, just two bad intermixings of human psychology because they see other people getting offers,
Yep.
so they're not going to lower. But I mean, some of these people are desperate to have any money. So I mean, lowering they already own the house, like, they probably already live somewhere else. Lowering the value of the sale is probably not going to do them any good either. So the house will just continue to go unlived in
Um.
until they can get the money they want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I
And
mean.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
the whole thing's a mess. I mean, I see. Well, because like I wonder what that like. Part of me, I said, I think we live in an age of broken economics, fundamentally just broken economics, on so many levels, and I think part of that is the kind of systematic inequalities and like wealth inequalities we've set up, like the high end scale versus the low end scale.
Yep.
How businesses kind of collectively use their resources to kind of leverage scales to make profits.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's just like so during COVID, I mean, COVID is a whole nother shit show of an issue, which I think we could spend an entire podcast talking about. And I'd probably want to do a little bit more research first to try to like make my points with some articles to kind of support them and
Mm-hmm.
facts and all the should be important stuff. They're important stuff actually. That should be. Um, but just to kind of give you like an anecdote, like tons of businesses closed down during COVID. Why? A lot of reasons. A lot of businesses don't have cash on hand to cover both employees and overhead,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they're not bringing any profits in. I get that. It makes sense. In a perfect world, I think companies would have a little bit more, just cash, stored away. Some of them, a lot of them, some did. Some of the really big ones did. Most of the small ones didn't. Um, I think one of the bigger issues is that the government could have stepped in to help companies in a smarter way, but there was no intelligence running at the top. I'll say that. This is as deep as I'm going to go into that for now. Um, some of the state to state probably could have helped better. Again, I think a lot of people weren't used to. It was an unprecedented situation in the modern world where we have so many tools, but we don't necessarily know how to use them the best. And I don't know if the desire was there to use them the best. I will say that. But I definitely think a lot of the government should have come in and helped businesses in a better way. certainly a more accountable way. If you know anything about like a lot of the loans that were just given out to people that had no actual businesses and they basically got to keep the money, is what it was. But no, there's a movie theater down the street from me that has sat empty because it closed from the beginning of COVID, essentially. Like I think a month or two into COVID. Mid 2020, something. Maybe like 3 to 6 months into 2020. I guess 3 months into 2020 was COVID was really popping off in the United States. So it was probably like maybe, 3 months into deep COVID, probably like July of 2020. Businesses is sat empty. How is the property owner making any money off that business, off that storefront, off that plaza, if the business just can sit empty?
Well, that plaza
Like,
has been suffering for quite some time, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, but like there weren't even the old business in the plaza. Like there was a buffet there. Like you and I both know what we're talking about. But like multiple businesses in that plaza closed and have not reopened in any form. Meaning that's just empty space. That's just empty storefront. And like it weirds me out that we live in an economy where like empty space isn't in some type of way, a negative loss to your profit. Isn't, and not even a loss to your profit, but like isn't it like a negative tax? Or like it is the fact that you can just have an empty business, to me, should mean if not a loss of potential revenue, then like negative money that you're I could be saying this in a better way, but like how is an empty storefront profitable in any way for you? And I guess profit is like the positive gaining of wealth, but I mean, you would think with the property taxes you have to pay, which is an overhead for you as the landowner, that would also be a loss of money. So essentially, like you should be on paper, you're losing money every year for that sitting empty. Yet these businesses continue to sit empty, and I'm just wondering, like, what are the economics that make sense? Because to me, I like if I were the development owner, I would take even a business that paid me a little bit less to take that space, and like I would be like, work up to this amount and we could talk later, than just leaving it empty. But I mean that's not the economy we live in. We live in the empty storefront economy where that business closed down like 2 years ago and never came back. And like to me, if that's not a sign of like decay and changing economies and not finding anything to replace it, then I don't know what is. I mean, same thing with all the like empty and closed down shopping malls all across America. Like you would think someone would find a way to sell, or repurpose that space, but they haven't yet.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the problem is they can't even find people to, make them a low offer on just doing something with it, And that's probably just like a sad truth about things is a lot of people can't afford to start their own business and, go into debt for a gamble. When, you have like Walmart or other bigger corporations down the street from your house,
And I mean, that is a problem in and of itself. I mean, like again, by not letting wages for pretty much anything keep up with inflation, let alone productivity. I mean, I feel like you've destroyed futures of the generational American economy because people don't have money to set aside for, their own entrepreneurial ventures, their own entrepreneurial creations, their own ideas, or even their own development. Like say, someone wanted to set aside money to go to school, like on a minimum wage salary, that's not a thing. Like get some loans, kid. Like you'd have to work full time and then some to pay for school.
Go into debt.
Yeah. Go into debt just to maybe get a job.
The American dream.
And I mean, if you look at, it's I'm subscribed to the teacher subreddit, and like it blows my mind. And I get it that like yes, subreddits are in some places where people go to vent. But that subreddit is all venting, and it's justified venting because these people have bachelor's degrees at the minimum. A lot of them even masters, but
Right.
they're getting paid not only wages of like just high school diploma level jobs, but they're having to deal with like more bullshit than pretty much anyone from anywhere, like in any administration. Like they're getting shit on by all sides, kids, parents, and teachers. And what are they getting out of it? Like a pat on the back? Like so many people, like the teaching industry in this country is drying up, and it's not for lack of desire to go and educate kids. It's that they realize that in this economy, in this market, in the world we live in nowadays, it's not worth the pain and suffering they have to go through. It's just not
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
most teachers, and that is a nightmare on so many levels, because like you're telling me that uh any of the people that are bright and eager to go and educate the next generation to actually like make them make the world better, lead better lives, improve themselves, are so turned off by the prospect of actually teaching in modern reality that they don't even want to do it. That's terrible. Like
Yeah.
the one people that are actually the one crazy group of people that are actually excited to go out there and improve the lives of tiny up and coming humans don't even want to do it because the job has turned into a modern hellscape. Dude, that's just bad news. It's just bad news bears. That's bad for the future of the world.
I agree.
And I mean, they're like, it's not even just a matter of not getting paid enough. Because I mean, teaching is a full-time job. Like it's like you think all the work they do is like when they're at the school all day. No,
No.
like they have to grade papers, they have to set up lesson plans, they have to they have to do an insane amount of work out of class. Like it's definitely well more than a 40-hour week job during the school year, and even not during the school year, bruh, they've deserved the time off for all the bullshit they've had to put up with. But no, they have a shit salary and continue to have a shit salary. And what's worse is that like numerous studies have come out. I just saw one the other day that literally just said, you know what it takes to improve the quality of teaching in a given school district? Literally just pay them more.
Mm-hmm.
Because if people feel like they're fairly compensated for their work, they're willing to work harder. I think that's true in almost every industry, for the most part. But clearly the teaching industry is suffering now because the compensation isn't there. And to me, that's nuts, because it should be one of the most important industries. Do we not need smart people anymore? I thought we did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man, it's always been jacked up and expression that value things.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in the modern world, it's gotten even more jacked up. It's I the thing that always kind of made me nervous about kind of the way we've treated kind of our kind of like laissez-faire capitalism is that a lot of instances it's just like a race to the bottom. I mean, I'm not saying it was like this, but I mean, the the fact remains that it's like if McDonald's can make a cheaper burger, um, that didn't taste as good, but were cheaper, which do you think they would go with? Like they would go with the burger that was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they would go with the cheaper materials. And like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I don't know, but I mean, at the end of the day, as the consumer, you're not getting the best tasting burger. And I mean, if you want an even more relevant example, I guess we could talk about like planned obsolescence, and like the life cycle of consumer products, bruh. Like it's crazy out there. Like we have so much waste and electronic waste and all this other waste of things that should be worth a lot more than they do. I mean, like the fact that you can go to Walmart and buy uh, what should be a decent laptop specs wise, but has plastic hinges that will probably break on you within a year and a half, just speaks to the level of just like not giving a shit we've gotten with our products. Because you have products like even phones, and how they start slowing down after a while, which is a combination of a couple different things. But you have a product that should last 5-10 years, but is designed by the company to last half that amount, um, just because the company is so desperate for you to buy the next one that they're basically making the one you currently have trash before it even should be done its life cycle. And you know what happens when it's trash? It just gets tossed into the waste stream, which bad for the environment. It creates a bunch of unrecoverables, yada yada. It's just a mess, man. Like it's just a mess. Like I think modern LEDs and light bulbs should last, I think, another 10 years more than they do, but some companies intentionally overvolt them so they last less time, so you buy more light bulbs. Like, if that doesn't speak to you as, like, late stage, just like wasteful capitalism, I don't know what does.
Yeah, man. So then but I have my next question here is, how was your week, August?
Like an hour in. It was okay. I think there's a lot of things that I need to improve on in terms of my own discipline, and I'm working on that. I think this weekend was kind of a recovery weekend. Although I should have done more productive stuff myself. But I set up my new computer chair. It's a lot more comfy. It's one of those like really nice work from home chairs. So I'm planning on trying to get more work done in it. The longer I can sit in the chair, the more work I can do, because I certainly don't really get work done, for my bed. I've tried it before, and it doesn't really seem to be a thing. Too tempted to sleep,
Same, big same.
Yep, big same. So yeah, happy about that. Caught as I said, I'm still watching a couple TV shows weekly. So I caught up on those. The new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is really good. As I said, I'm really surprised it's good, but it's good. It's everything I would have wanted in a dramatic Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I just hope that it doesn't lose its steam once it goes into the second season, because we got to be coming up on the end of the first season here. And yeah, as I said, I think a lot of shows just have a sophomore slump because there's that hunger in the first season. There's that passion to tell a tight story, to try to, get people engaged, to try to get people to like and enjoy the show and see as a creator, you're interested in doing when you make a show. And I think, once a lot of those shows get greenlit for the second season, I'm not saying necessarily the pressure goes away, but I mean, now you have to tell the next story. And I think it's very hard to tell a second story and have it live up to a lot of the passion and energy you told from that first tight story. As well as write, like, now that you're going to get more than one season, you also have to start writing like you'll get future seasons too. So I think that's a tough balance. You know what I mean? Like, when there's not a lot of content to judge media on, it's almost easier to judge because you can judge over the tight amount of content. The more episodes you have to judge something over, it's a lot harder for any product. I challenge anybody to remain that level of consistent. Like, even the world's greatest TV shows have bad episodes. It's just how it is. You're not going to hit it out of the park, 100 out of 100 times. That's just not realistic. So yeah, it's all about trying to balance that. And I don't know. I don't know if a show that is this traumatic, this dialed up on its energy, can maintain that tightness. Doing another multiple seasons, unless they, I don't know, maybe like scale some stuff back, maybe add some of the original Fresh Prince's humor and charm, maybe add some more jokes. But I do love how dramatic it is, but I think that if they want to continue into future seasons, they might have to balance it out by giving it a little bit more levity, and not making it so serious all the time. But I don't know. I think there's a lot that goes into kind of the theories of modern media, and yeah, I think that's just kind of mine. Um, but yeah, that's been an enjoyable show. There's a couple other ones that I checked out. We both watched the new Halo first episode, which I know
Yeah,
we'll talk.
That
later.
was, oh boy.
Oh no! Do you want to talk about it now, or I mean,
Yeah,
we
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, give me one more second. Let me just finish up on week.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that. Got a new 8-bit dough retro controller. 8-bit dough makes the sickest retro controllers. Really hyped to start going to play some like 2D classic games on that.
Did you get the? When did you get? Did you get the?
I did. I got the one with the purple buttons, the SNES
Nice.
style Super Nintendo one. So I'm pretty hyped.
Dope
Pretty hyped to
controller.
use. Yeah, it is a dope controller. I'm pretty hyped to use it. So they had like the Super Famicom, like Japanese one with the multicolored buttons.
Mhm.
I might, if I get another one of those, I might get that one. But like this was the the purple button, like Super Nintendo was the American one, so that was the one I grew up with. So
Big
I
same.
felt like that'd be the most honest one for me, most authentic one. But it's a great controller. It feels great in your hands. But yeah, excited to play some classic retro games with that. Bought the new KOF 15 because you inspired me, and
Hell
everyone
yeah.
told me everyone told me it's everything that SF5 wasn't in terms of releasing like a complex and deep game on release.
100%, I agree.
So, I mean, even if it's not as popular as Street Fighter, which is, I guess the more popular series, more conventional, I'm on board just because I wanted a mechanically deep game. And even early on, even being an amateur level Street Fighter player, I could tell that, there just wasn't much game there in SF5. That was my biggest frustration is like the more you learned about the game, the more disappointed you were that there wasn't there wasn't much depth to the mechanics. They started adding that stuff in later, of course, but I mean, I feel like the damage was done at that point, and of course, those are all additional mechanics. That wasn't kind of the base level of the game. So yeah, I'm really excited to step out and try KOF 15. I downloaded that. I'm gonna probably try to play the Power Rangers game too. That should be fun. I just want to get a little bit back into gaming. I haven't really played anything in a while. I've been watching stuff on Twitch, but I haven't played anything. So I think that'll be fun. And I like now that it's getting nice back out, I've realized that if I want to get back in shape, I have to do some more outside activities. So, bought some new running shoes a week ago.
Hell yeah.
Gonna try to go on at least 3 runs a week, starting real soon. If not more, just because I want to, drop the pounds, get back in fighting shape, get back in like, Tinder beach body shape. Beach body season's coming up, can't get caught lacking.
Gotta get a photography session going.
Exactly. Something. I don't know. But I mean, hey man, I can't, I gotta I gotta get back out there. So you gotta get back in fighting shape there. So yeah, probably start hitting the gym a little bit more, exercise a little bit more, try to wake up, be more productive, as well as, try to find the time for entertainment, as well as productivity. So, trying to rejuggle those balls. But yeah, what else? I checked out the 2 more episodes of HBO's Minx. Of course, I say that right after I talk about balls. Not awkward at all. It's man, like I like it. No, it's not mid. So I really enjoy it, but my biggest problem with the show is that it hasn't broken out of how it writes the characters as kind of caricatures of the idea they're trying to express rather than actually being people.
Yeah, they're not real people yet.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because I'm like, these characters are like almost there, but they're still just characters. You know what I mean? They're still just caricatures. They don't feel authentic to people yet. And I think as we get more episodes, we might get that, but I'm starting to realize that it seems like it's more of the strength of the writer, not the actors, because some of the dialogue is just so effing cheesy, and it's like I like the show, I like it a lot, but I think they could do better. I don't know. I think that the first 2 episodes had more charm than the second 2. The second 2 episodes. But as I said, it's been fun. And if I'm looking for something fun to watch, I'm okay with it. Jake Johnson is still hilarious. And Olivia Lovett-Bond, who's the female lead, is, again, her character is grating, but I think it's first season her character, which is, I feel like, once that character starts to open up and kind of let loose, because she's always kind of been like the button down professional type. Like, I think that is her character in a sense. Like, she's always been the type that like was like, as a female, I have to do better than everyone else in order to succeed, which I totally respect. But it's also that character that's like never really been out of her shell because of that. She hasn't like let loose and been able to kind of become her own person. And I feel like once she starts to do that, she will be a more enjoyable character to watch. But right now, she's a little bit too, she's a little bit too business suit for my taste. But I think that's kind of how she's written too. It just it makes her character annoying as fuck. But I mean, it's intentional. So I try not to let it get to me. But it's a fun show. It is legitimately a fun show. I'm more excited for new episodes of the other HBO kind of comedy. They're like comedy biopics, I guess, is what I'm talking about. Because Minx is about the creation of Playgirl.
Mm-hmm.
The other HBO like history comedy. I don't know. I don't have a word for it, but comedy biopic that's coming out right now is called Winning Time, which is about the 1980s like Lakers Showtime run. It basically kind of the foundation of the Magic Johnson Lakers basketball team.
Right.
And that has been so much fun so far. There's only been 3 episodes, but man, it's great. I don't know if I talked about it much last week, but
I don't think you did.
uh, John C. Riley plays Dr. Jerry Buss, who was basically the assuming head of the Lakers at that time. Like, he was the one that was buying the team at that time, so like of course he's a major part of the story. And of course, John C. Riley, the man is hilarious. He can do drama, he can do comedy. He's even more amazing when he's able to mix the two. So he's great. The actor that plays a young Magic Johnson is great. Um, Pretty much all of the actors are great, but it's just so fucking entertaining, man. There's a scene where they did early on they did the reference to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scene from Airplane. I don't know if you've ever seen Airplane.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But there's that scene where like he's the pilot of the airplane, and the kid goes up to him and it's like, "You're not a pilot, you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar." And like they did that scene like shot for shot in the actual like TV show.
Oh wow.
And it was so entertaining. Oh my god, it was great. I don't know if I read that the actual original directors were on set, like the Smuckers brothers, but like it was funny as fuck because it was almost like a shot for shot remake perfectly of the scene from Airplane. And it's really funny because like after he's done acting, like he goes up and like talk to his wife. He's like, "I did what you taught me. Like I took all your acting notes." And the kid is like, "Kareem." The kid walks up to him after and he's like, "Kareem, you're just so amazing. Like, can I have an autograph?" And he's like, "Fuck off, kid." It's just
wow.
great. It was so funny. But yeah, like it's entertaining. I don't know. I said, if like HBO comedies are great because you can just throw them on in the background and just laugh your ass off because it's just the absurdism of the situations they get into. Just great. I don't know. As I said, like this is a whole nother conversation that maybe we should talk about later. We'll talk about it like maybe after we get through Halo. But like in terms of like who is putting out the best content for the modern like television meta, which is like obviously streaming now. That is where it is. I don't, some people still debate new shows on cable, but like a lot of the market has moved over to streaming and like cut the cord, and like a lot of networks are focusing on making content that exclusively debuts on streaming basically. And HBO, by a large margin, by an insane margin, still putting out the best content versus anyone else.
Wow.
And it's kind of mind blowing because I'm like, yeah, I can say they had the model before the model even existed, because HBO has always been about content rather than about being a network. Like, yes, they had an HBO channel, but it was a premium channel, meaning it was always a premium service. You were paying for better content. Like, they were always focused on creating the best content to get people to subscribe to them. Like, that's why it was elite TV. Which is a model that translates even better to the streaming age, because essentially it's the same thing. It's just, in digital format. But like, yeah, no, like HBO has the best writers, they have the best sets, they have the best directors, they have the best cinematographers. Almost everything they put out that is an HBO exclusive show is amazing in some way. Like, it might not be my type of show, it might not be something I watch, but mind blowing. And yes, maybe that means they have less exclusives per year, but that's not even but that's like, so there's less content that's exclusively on the HBO channel. But that's not even true, because the genius, like, I'm not gonna call them geniuses, but the people who bought up HBO also created HBO Max and bought up all of like Viacom and all the other stuff like that. So like, pound for pound, if I was gonna have one service right now, as a streaming platform, I'd have HBO Max, because I'm getting all of Cartoon Network's content, all of the Adult Swim content, pretty much all of Viacom's content, a ton of other content, and HBO exclusives just for whatever their subscription is. Whereas on Netflix, I'll get a show that might last the season if I'm lucky, if they don't cancel it, which is my biggest problem with Netflix now, because it seems like every new show they have, they cancel because it's not hitting their viewer metrics. When their viewer metrics are spoiled by like shows like Squid Game, when I'm just like, bro, like, not every show is going to be a Squid Game. It's like Netflix isn't ready to hear that. I don't, man. I could go on at length, but Netflix is pissing me off. Like, there was a show that I recently started to get into, or I watched back in, I guess, the earlier winter, called Archive 81. They just announced that they canceled it last week. It got a season, and it ended on a cliffhanger that was clearly leading to another season. Now it'll never get another season. And like, that is the story of Netflix, and that it has so many just dead shows on it, that they
Yeah.
started and didn't want to finish. And it's like, bro, how is anyone ever going to watch, like, how is anyone going to care about your future catalog if you don't care about your future catalog? Like, if you're not writing in a contract that like every author gets 3 episodes to actually finish a show if you cancel their show, then no one's ever even going to want to start these shows once they go online and find out they're not finished. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or they'll watch the show, find out it's not finished, and then just be pissed and be like, "Well, I'm never watching another Netflix original again." So I don't understand where Netflix thinks it's going, man. They like they want to be so hands off, that to the point that they want to destroy their own content, because as soon as they realize it's not making they're like, Netflix is turning into the EA of streaming, bro. Like, as soon as they realize it's not like making the money they want to make, they are so quick to pull the plug. And bruh, it destroys so many good shows that at least should have had endings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But looks like Quintessence is back in. So I actually need 3 seconds for a bathroom break, but I'll let him hop in. I will go to the bathroom, and then we can all talk about the Halo show.
I too would love to go to the bathroom. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna hit the pause here, and we'll be right back, guys.
I mean, do we want to talk about the Twitch? Okay.
We can talk about
So
it.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So we are back. The Backlog Podcast, episode 13. We have the world's greatest mod back in action. Basically where me and Mr. Backlog himself left off was, we're just about to talk about Halo. Yeah. So you hadn't really missed that. So did you have any thoughts? We all watched the first episode of the new Paramount Plus Halo show this afternoon.
Well, the action scenes were cool.
Action scenes were cool.
I'm not sure about our main character.
So long story short,
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Just spoilers if you didn't already get that vibe. The writers kind of relied on that classic trope of you want to put someone kind of young and kind of new to things.
Introduce new character for audience to relate to.
Yes, they
or
essentially
relate through, I guess.
they essentially wanted an audience proxy character for Master Chief because naturally you're not going to relate to Master Chief.
I hate that trope.
I like it actually. I don't think you should rely on it for the entire show, which clearly they won't. But for a first season, I'm fine with it. It is that it lets the audience experience the world through the eyes of someone who's also experiencing the world for the first time. So it clears up a lot of the hurdles of exposition because you wouldn't be explaining to the situation to someone who already knows it, but to someone who's seeing it for the first time, it brings a logical way for the writer to explain something to the audience. So yes, long story short, it deals with this teenager that was on one of the outer colonies of the UNC that was trying to rebel against the UNSC. And long story short, the Covenant is mining for an artifact of some kind on that same colony. The colonists discover the Covenant, and a slaughter ensues where apparently plasma weapons are super effective. Who would have known playing Halo? People apparently always said they always sucked, but no, man.
Especially on children.
on bare flesh, it's super effective, as the kids say. That was definitely like I was watching the show going into it. I was expecting kind of like a PG-13 vibe. I wasn't expected to see like 5 teenagers get like melted in front of me with like half of their legs like still left over.
Always pleasantly surprising.
Yeah, I was like, oh damn, okay, they're actually really going for it. Like legit, like, and it'd be one thing if it was like the sci-fi vaporization where there's nothing left, but no, there was stuff left. It was rough. So yeah, her friends get turned into human goo in front of her while she's running back to the colony. And then the Covenant proceeds to attack the colony. And there's one very special scene that I'm trying not to spoil, but it involves the Covenant and a ton of children. And things got realer than I expected them to.
Well, to be fair, we did say spoilers. Talk about whatever the hell you want.
I guess.
We did. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who actually wants to go and watch it, but like, man, that was how I knew this was going to be serious. Like, if the rest of the show can keep that tone and not be afraid to do stuff like that, I will be pleasantly surprised almost no matter how it turns out. Because I kind of like shows that aren't afraid to at least take the gloves off, consequences wise, or with stuff like that. But no, it was cool. It doesn't look like it's going to take the same plot of Halo. But I'm entirely okay with that because, if anyone has played the games or even hasn't played the games, you pretty much know the plot of Halo. I mean, it was old video game writing. The plot was interesting, but it came second or even third to the gameplay. Whereas, this obviously is film literature, so the plot has to come, first or foremost, more or less. So it's going to be a slightly different story, but I'm okay with it. I'm interested. Hopefully, I stay interested. It's supposedly it's the best debuting show for Paramount Plus ever. That's not saying much because it's Paramount Plus. No one gave a shit before. So.
I mean, I think it's just riding on curiosity and the franchise name.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other, that's kind of the other bad thing about it is that, like, people have been waiting for a Halo anything for how long? And I'm like, if this, like, how long till people are inevitably let down? You know what I mean? Like, even if it's good, people could be let down. I don't think people should ever be let down because, I mean, in today's modern media world, like you just have to accept that things are going to be adapted in their own way. And that's never going to be like don't let the vision in, don't let the perfect vision in your head be ruined by someone else's vision. Always enjoy the thing you want because you enjoyed it. Hell, go out and write your perfect Halo fanfic and distribute it on the web. Because if there's a fan out there, maybe they'll read it. If it's good, you'll get some props. But the point is that like don't let other people's shitty adaptations of things ruin it for you. Because nowadays, I mean, you can't trust every adaptation to be good. You can't trust every reboot or remake or sequel or requel to be good. You like don't consider shit canon that shouldn't be canon. Like, to me, I don't want to consider the Star Wars sequels as canon because I think they were trash. But it is what it is. Is it canon? Yes. Is it canon in quote unquote reality for now? Yes. But is it canon in my heart? Never. And that's just the way it'll go down. But I've heard that from a lot of the reviews from people who've seen more of the show, they say it's decent, but it's not great. I'm still gonna watch the rest of it and form my own opinion. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm okay with that as long as I had fun.
Yeah, I mean, or you could be like that asshole that's like, yo, Rise of what was the last movie? The Rise of Skywalker?
Skywalker, yeah.
Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker was the best Star Wars movie ever. Like,
I mean, hey,
no, it's not.
I don't judge other people.
Their wrong, opinions.
Yeah, people can have whatever opinion they want. If that's how he feels sincerely, then I mean, more power to him. That's how he feels. I just don't agree. It's okay not to agree on things. I don't know where in human history we decided that it was we all had to agree. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly not the case. Everyone has their own tastes.
Sure, I mean, they're wrong, but still.
Yeah, exactly.
You can believe whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't know how opinion can be wrong, but theirs is somehow. Yeah. They pulled it off.
Yeah. But yeah, so just dude, the Last Jedi, like the arguments between was the Last Jedi worse than Rise of Skywalker fight will never not be entertaining to me. Personally, I don't care because I hate both movies. But oh man, when people start fighting over that, I enjoy it. There was literally a meme today on, I think, like our Star Wars that it was that meme of the two people fighting and the one person sitting in the chair eating popcorn, and it was Star Wars fans for each of the three labels. And that's really how it feels to be a Star Wars fan. I mean, that any fandom that's gone on long enough, that's popular enough, I would say that's how it feels to be a fan in a lot of it. But sometimes you just have to bring a seat down to the picnic and watch your relatives fight, because that's just how the fandom is.
I mean, the bright side though of that is, it makes prequels look a little bit better.
It does. It really does. I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first episode 7, I was hyped for. I was like, all right, this was pretty good. I like this. I can't wait to see what they do next. There's some parts of it that are like, okay, that's a little weird. There's some weird choices, but okay. And then once 8 came, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And then 9 came out, and then it was just them just backpedaling the movie. And and then I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but you fucked it up. Fucked it up.
Nope, you already fucked it up. You already fucked it up. Nope. I agree. Oh man. That's, as I said, that's the hubris that comes from trying to be smarter. That's the hubris that came from trying to be smarter than they actually were. And they're like, we don't need to actually write a trilogy. We'll just make each movie in a trilogy in sequence and hope they fit together. because that's how they did the original trilogy. Not realizing that George Lucas was saved from himself by his editors that first time, also.
Yeah.
And his wife.
And his wife. Like, they captured lightning in a bottle with those first 3 movies. Like, do you think if they'd planned those movies out smartly, like Luke and Leia would have kissed and then found out they're brother and sister later? No, it's fucking weird, bruh. Like, I'm sure I've said this before on this podcast, but it's like, I bet Han was like, okay, y'all freaks on Tatooine, bruh. Like, not even, it's the Alabama of space. Real talk.
But Step Jedi.
Really, though.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn.
But like, yeah, like just idiocy of being smarter than you actually are, and like not planning out it's a trilogy. It's supposed to be 3 parts of a connected story. Like the fact that they weren't even willing to do that just speaks of just, oh my god, the overconfidence.
Well, I mean,
speaking of poor planning,
yeah, that too.
The
Ryan
first
Johnson.
Halo episode, poor planning.
I mean, the first.
I have to say it.
Yeah. Force Awakens was literally just a rip of A New Hope. Like, you literally stole from yourself. Never steal from yourself. Everyone's going to recognize it. The only movie I've ever said is okay to steal from yourself is Riddick. And you know why? It's because that movie is so stupid, I'm okay with it stealing from itself. There's nothing to steal from. Like, Chronicles of, like, the Riddick movie is literally them just redoing Pitch Black. But adding some of the stuff from Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah,
it's a pretty wild take, but sure.
I mean, you haven't seen Riddick? Like Riddick 3? Riddick 3 is basically just Pitch Black 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, I don't think. Okay, so Pitch Black is that was the name?
Elements of it.
There's elements of it, but I don't.
You trap them on a planet with monsters that are trying to kill them. It's the same plot.
Well, he's
one of the elements of it.
They. I mean, I think it's
prisoner can see them.
It's definitely like a way more expanded on story, and Riddick as a character is like they take Riddick and he's not just a murderer. Like, you know, he's
don't get me wrong. There's like, because it's 3 movies in, everything is a lot more fleshed out, and the writing is better. Don't get me wrong. It's I don't think Riddick 3 is a bad movie. I never said that. I'm just saying that they kind of stole from themselves.
Isn't the Chronicles of Riddick the second movie?
And yeah, no. The third movie is called Riddick. I'm talking about the third movie.
I have not seen. I don't think I've seen it. I'm sorry. Okay, so there you go.
Black set everything in motion.
Yes, it did.
I'm thinking of the Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick is great. I like Chronicles of Riddick more than I like Pitch Black.
Okay. So yeah, then I don't know. I can't comment on that. All right.
No, bad. So if you don't know the story, Riddick takes place after the Chronicles of Riddick. And long story short, it's stupid because they pull the same thing that The Force Awakens does, where it's like, okay, reset the clock. How do we recapture the exact same feeling of the first movie, of A New Hope? So you know what they do is after the Chronicles of Riddick, after he's legit through trial by death combat, won an entire kingdom of necromongers and people willing to follow him. You know what happens is his second lieutenant, which he never should have trusted in the first place because the guy was against him up until the last minute, betrays him, strands him, and leaves him on another death planet where monsters are trying to kill him. So it's literally just reset the clock. Let's do Pitch Black again.
Yeah, no, I okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to try to check that out sometime.
Saying it's a bad movie. I enjoy it. Katie Sackhoff's in it. She's a hottie. Always been a hottie. If you like Battlestar Galactica, the remake, check that out. She's in that. But yeah, it is like, it's, you know, it's copying from your own franchise. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but you know, it's, again, you know, Riddick is not deep, so it's okay. Star Wars, there's a lot to it, so it's not as okay. They should have just committed to writing a new story, which clearly they were afraid to do for whatever reason. I don't know. The people in Hollywood are not gods as much as we revere them to be. So,
but my real question about this, how was that Halo first episode?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't know. You guys, we know how Quintessence feels about it. How do you feel about it? Backlog.
Do you know how I feel about it?
I thought you said. Thought you were like, it's a meh.
No, that was me. But no, go ahead, Quintessence. Tell us what you think, man.
Quintessence has the floor. All right.
You.
So I feel like what we needed to do, or what they needed to do, was instead of having like this bombastic like first episode that tries to cover a million things in its runtime, we should have had instead like more time with Quan and her friends to kind of like grow that bond as an audience with these characters and like the resistance people, so that the slaughtering would have had, you know, more of an emotional effect. Because as it was just like, oh sweet, people are just dying, that sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I get it.
And you don't really get any emotional resonance with Quan, who's just like, oh god, like all my friends are dead.
So
because I'm just like, okay, but I don't care about this character, and I don't care about the characters that die because I don't know them. And oh, there's Master Chief.
Yeah. So what I would have done then is I would have I don't think that would have been worth the whole episode because the focus is tight. You want to get to Chief, you want to get to the UNSC stuff. What I would have done is that like I would have made a series of shorts that appeared before the start of the first episode, and it's like these are the colonists, these are their relationships. This is Quan's friends, kind of get you up to speed, and then it would have kind of like built that rapport. But I mean, I completely understand why they wanted to kind of like get the whole colonist plotline over within the first like 20 minutes. Might actually even been 15. It was
like speed ran it though. Like
it did.
I feel like it could have been a larger part of the first episode. Not like it wouldn't have to be like its own dedicated episode, right? It just needed
like 2-3
more
episodes
so that you could grab like that emotional.
Not for 50-minute episodes. No, I see what you're saying.
Grab that emotional end.
I think like Sorry, what was
we got like nothing. Like it was just a bunch of fancy CGI fighting, which is cool. That was cool, but they very clearly blew most of their budget on that because the rest of the episode was talking.
A lot of their budget. Holy shit. that was all for the trailer. Like I bet like 99.9% of that episode was like clips for the trailer.
And I expect like the next episode or two to also be a majority talking. After the way they burned through their budget. I'm not sure first episode. Just based on that.
It is. I've already.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. No, I've already read reviews from people that have seen episode 2, and it's definitely.
I knew it.
Too, so you got the sense that like probably a good like at least 25% of the budget for the entire show went into that first episode. Like so much CG. Holy shit. I mean, it looked cool. It looks cool as fuck, but
yeah, it looks good. No grunts though, by the way.
Yeah,
no grunts, just elites.
Man,
grunts are like the foot soldiers, you know.
This was an important artifact. I don't know.
Oh, I guess.
But that a lot of money was spent on that opening fight scene. It looked cool as fuck. Don't get me wrong. It did. It definitely like. It felt like you were playing the video game, but in movie form. Like, it reminds me of, like... Have you ever seen, like, the original Doom movie with The Rock?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, remember that, like, FPS scene they tried to do? It's, like, super cheesy.
Oh, yeah, Backlog and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
We're like, it's just like playing the game.
Yeah, no, this felt like that, but good.
Yeah.
This
felt wild to me. They had like all the shield sound effects and gun sound effects and stuff like that, and then they play like a weird, shitty remix of the Halo theme. And I was like, oh, yikes! You guys couldn't even put up the money for the actual Halo theme. Come on, boys.
Yeah. So
boys and girls, come on.
The music could have been better, but they had like all of the weapon sound effects like pulled straight from the game. That sounded cool as fuck. That did sound really, really cool.
It's just such a weird hearing. Like I expected the Halo theme to play, and then I just got like this weird version of it, the butchered version, I guess I should say, of it. Left me wanting more.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But as I said, it's just episode 1. They might use I think towards the end of the episode, the end of the season, when the music starts to become a real big thing. Because of course in the last couple episodes, they have those real dramatic scenes. We might see some better themes, but yeah, the theme mixed into this episode could have been a lot better. But yeah, for a first episode of a show, I didn't hate it though. Like as I said, what would you out of 10? What would you guys give it? Or no, let's hear Matt's opinion on it, and then we'll get to
yeah. Let's.
Oh boy. So
Mr. Backlog.
I think it was all right. Like obviously it felt like it was too long. The first half of it was pretty cool, but I mean, I don't have any like good reason for thinking that it was cool. I think it was fun because of people getting murdered and
big explosion make brain happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like just like a horror movie type like surface level enjoyment that I got out of like those kids being murdered. Especially because it was like it was not subtle. It was like it happened in an instant, and that's how like things would happen in real life.
Yeah,
and
it got real.
And like not only that, but the first friend just gets vaporized, and then the second.
But his legs are left over, right?
No. That was another friend. The friend.
Okay, yeah.
That was like the first one gets like vaporized, and that's how she gets blood on her face because they're like having a conversation, and then the other two. Like, they start running, and one gets, like, taken out, and then that's the one with the legs. And then, like, the other friend gets left behind, and that's, when she starts shooting out the flare. But yeah, that whole thing was just like, oh, no, you think these kids are safe? Nah, man. Nah, we're gonna kill these damn kids. And then,
child murder simulator.
Yeah, and it was just sort of like the same. I got the same feeling as like in that Kamen Rider episode with the jellyfish, where like at first there's this guy just like jogging down the street, and all of a sudden he gets struck by lightning, and then like there's just these like shitty CGI flames, and then it's just like that satisfaction of, well, I wasn't expecting that, and it was like really gory and just felt sort of out of place. Same thing, like, and then obviously they get to the base, and then you kind of realize that like Master Chief and everyone aren't really like the best people, because, well, other than not attacking the like rogue people in that base, they didn't give a shit about like having any survivors.
Yep. In fact, it was it is readily made apparent to you that the UNSC would have preferred it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh man, the way Master Chief was like, no survivors. And then the girl's like, wait, me! And he's like, scratch that, one survivor. It keeps walking.
Yeah, they just leave the girl there to die, and it.
I mean, that's clearly wasn't their mission. I mean, their mission was clearly to stop the Covenant and not help the. I mean, granted, like these people are rebels; they're rebelling against them. So, but yeah, it was. Man, as I said, a not insignificant part of this episode was spent explaining to you how the modern political and military climate, the UNSC are kind of fucks. Because man, they were kind of dicks.
Yeah, they don't care about anybody but themselves, and it's not like Star Trek where you have like these people that are centrally going around with a prime directive and trying to keep peace at any cost. Basically we don't know why that the NFC.
UNSC.
we don't know why they're like that, but I mean, obviously they're probably going to explain that to us as time goes on. But I mean, and then basically the last half was mostly just talking and politics, and learning just how scummy the military is in this story. Um, and it really doesn't feel like there is a good guy, and they're trying to do the whole like, well, war is very black and white. It's not necessarily like there's Master Chief, the hero we all needed. Like
Yeah. And I kind of respect that, because I think that was kind of how it was illustrated in the games too. It's like the more you find out about Halo War, the more you realize that the whole Spartan program, that wasn't invented to fight the Covenant. I don't even know if the UNSC knew about the Covenant at that point. Like, they literally invented human killing machines to just kill other humans.
Yeah.
Like, they invented these human like monsters that were worth the weight of like, 100. Like, as I said, there's a great quote in the episode where like it was like one Spartan is worth 100 soldiers.
Yep.
And it's just like, dude, you guys are fighting like poor. I'm not gonna call them poor farmers, but like these Spartans were created to basically just like go out and like wipe out in like any opposition, even the smallest, faintest opposition that can never actually hurt the UNSC on the outer colonies. Because a long story short, because that like the outer colonies are what supply the UNSC with their main fuel resource. So this was all economics.
All about oil, man.
It was the space equivalent of oil. And as I said, if you know anything about the foundation of the Spartan 2 program, which is what Master Chief was from, it was not a nice program. Like, what they did to these kids, and many of them did not survive. To first and foremost, they kidnapped them from their families. Why they kidnapped them from their families, I don't entirely remember. It's been a while since I looked in Halo lore. But as I said, they heavily allude to the fact that in this episode, something helps awaken some of Chief's memories, and they don't want any of that to happen, because then Chief would realize he was essentially stolen as a child from his family to be turned into a super soldier human killing machine, not to fight aliens, but to kill other humans on the outer colonies. So It's actually kind of cool, because the one thing I actually enjoyed most about this episode was how quickly Chief realizes that he's being fucked with by his superiors. And rather than just be the military man and play his part, he's like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. And like, it's weird. It's like, you were expecting Chief to kind of be, the quintessential soldier, in that he follows every order, even the shitty ones. But this Master Chief seems to actually have a personality, which I'm never sure that the Master Chief in the games. I'm not saying he doesn't. I don't play the games enough, but this one definitely seems that he's a chief that's willing to, bend the rules if he thinks he's doing the right thing. Which I think the later games kind of hint at, is that he was willing to go out on a bridge to try to save Cortana, even though she was kind of fucking up. Until she does some real fucked up shit, and he realizes, like, bro, I can't even, I can't help you anymore. But that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the Master Chief that's willing to start making his own decisions is way more interesting as a character. And I'm very excited that this series is looking to try to explore that. But yeah, so do we want to do ratings?
Yeah, let's rate it.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the biggest part. Okay.
Oh.
So the biggest part of the first episode, throw out the children killing, throw out the cool plasma weapons, throw out the cool sound effects, throw out the UNSC fuckery.
Shit to talk about.
Master Chief takes off his helmet.
Face reveal practically instantaneously.
Literally.
Talk about a letdown.
Holy
shit. I don't care how he looks. He looks fine.
Yeah.
But this early?
Yeah,
that was
it's a
like
little
an
weird.
end of the
Yeah.
first season kind of
It's
reveal
weird.
thing, not
Not
a
even the
first
okay.
episode.
So, how much do you guys remember about Mandalorian season 1? Because I don't even think he took off his episode in the first episode. Did he?
We always just
Helmet?
got like teased.
Yeah. I don't think he turned off his episode in the first episode. So this
What?
show,
I don't think the first
this
episode
show
did at
couldn't even
all.
make it more than one episode without John Halo taking off his helmet there. Whereas, like, at least Mando made it to at least I think episode 3 or episode 5. Yeah. No, I'm pretty disappointed. It's not even
big sad.
Yeah. Did you have anything to say, Matt?
But that's now the face of Master Chief.
That's what he looks like.
That's it. That's what we have.
It's so weird. Like, game fans have been waiting for years, like since the first game, which would have been what, like 2000, for an image of what Chief's face looks like, and now we have a face, and it's just revealed so anticlimactically, and like
it's like a throwaway.
It is.
They try to make it kind of like epic, like like
John Halo.
Shit. Yeah. And he takes off his helmet, it like pans up, and it's like, it's like playing music. I'm like, okay, yeah. In the first episode, though?
Yeah, it's a little sus. I just, as I said, it would have been, to me, it would have been funnier if they treated it like a gag, where like, he takes off his helmet in that scene, but it only shows it from the back, like they did in, like, I think the first game. I can't remember which game, but there was one game where, like, he takes off his helmet and you think you're gonna see his head, but you only see the back of his head. Like, I would have enjoyed that more, but the way they did it in this first episode, I'm just like, we've been waiting for how long? Like, this, like, unless you're gonna do it in, like, a super epic dramatic scene, this is kind of just a letdown.
That was supposed to be the scene.
And yeah, you
have to trust me.
I'm not saying that it was like a bad first episode. I actually quite like it. As a first episode alone of a show, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10 for just the first episode.
Damn.
Like I'm not saying like, overall vibe, because overall vibe I might even lower it. But for just if I was just to rate a first episode by itself, I'd be like, yeah, it might be a 9. But because he's taken off his helmet like that, I gotta take off points. It's gonna go down. You can't just sell the Master Chief face reveal to me like that in the first episode and not lose points. It's too much hype.
I feel like that's being very generous, but go on. Quintessence, what do you rate it, man?
All right, so I'm sitting at closer to a 6 out of 10. Now, this may seem a little bit aggressive compared to your 9. However, I feel like
mine's a 9, but I'm taking off points for the helmet. So it actually comes down to like it's gonna go down more. I just haven't given my final rating. But what were you saying?
Okay, that's awkward. Anyway. But anyway, so I feel like the dialogue was lazy, shoddy, stilted. It didn't really flow. There was no emotional resonance with the show. The coolest part was like the CGI fighting that they literally can't keep up because of the budget reasons. And then of course the face reveal all just like count heavily against it. Oh, also the entire existence of Quan in my book is a downside.
Got you. You don't like the self-insert audience character?
I do not like the self-insert audience character. I feel like that's one of the laziest ways to write something.
Gotcha.
And tell me, there are some lazy lines in this shit.
Yeah, the dialogue. I kind of agree. The dialogue did not seem polished. I was
saying like what they were gonna say before they said it.
Yeah, sometimes that's a little annoying. I mean, if you watched a lot of TV, it all kind of becomes
accident.
It all kind of becomes cookie cutter, but yeah.
We couldn't save her. But she's alive. But she was dead. We tried to save her.
Yeah.
She died.
So yeah, he's referring to if you didn't already know, he's referring to a scene where basically the UNSC decides to like kill the little girl they saved because it's more convenient that she's dead. then she's alive, causing stirring up shit politically. So
and they give literally like the laziest dialogue for killing her. Like, oh my god, this is so cliche and trope filled and awful. Oh, it's writing I would expect from like the early 2000s sci-fi shows, which is not a compliment.
Personally, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of agree with both of you. Like, if I were to give it like a rating, and this is like a rating for how I feel the rest of the season will go, I think the show's going to be a 7 out of 10. And yeah, I mean, as I said, Quintessence said it perfectly. Essentially, it feels like a mid 2000s, like kind of cheesy sci-fi show level in terms of writing, but it's got a ridiculously high budget. So it's like high budget kind of it's like a high budget cheeseburger, you know what I mean? But like cheeseburgers we made, it's like high budget trash, but it's not trash. But you know what I mean? Like, its writing is not going to live up to the amount of money they're pouring into the effects.
Yeah, man. Hey, all right. So, real quick, guys, is there any other subject that you guys want to cover? Because I'm thinking we should probably wrap up the podcast.
Do you want to do like a quick video game news rundown? Because I wouldn't mind doing it, but if y'all don't want to do it,
did you guys talk about Crunchyroll?
We did it. We didn't talk about anything. No. We literally went on like just a me and Matt like life talk about like stuff. So
if I would like to talk about Crunchyroll,
yeah,
because they are removing the free simulcast.
Go off, King.
So like before, when you were a free member to Crunchyroll, you could like wait a week or two, and then you would watch like a new episode in quotes of a currently airing season. That's no longer going to be a thing. They are just wiping that away completely, and now if you don't pay to be a premium member of Crunchyroll, you are just stuck with like an old, outdated library of shows.
Oh wow.
And you can't even touch the new stuff. I feel like that's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, and this comes after them buying Funimation, so now they're like the only game in town either. Right?
Pretty much. I mean, there's High Dive still, but I think High Dive's like pretty much exclusively paid content, so
yeah,
they're also not much of a competitor.
Yeah, that's disappointing to me, man. I don't know. We live in this weird age where like monopolies are like accepted. And like, I don't know. I don't know how to fix that problem.
Or like their companies are kind of like sidestepping around it. Like, it's not really a monopoly. Look, there's these. And they're like, oh, that's true. Those do exist.
Like, we own 90% of the market share, but it's not a monopoly.
It's not 100. You understand? Yeah. That's a monopoly.
That's literally the argument, though. That's what it's become. We don't own 100%.
We only own 97% of the ISPs in Washington State. We do not have a monopoly. Comcast is fine. Don't worry about it.
Jesus, craziness.
Same energy.
It is same energy. But I don't know. As I said, this makes me sad. So how did the free tier work before? Like, you able to watch like one free episode as long as it aired that same week?
No, so basically, it would go into a hibernation kind of thing. So, like, it would air week 1, right? And then it would be available, like, week 2 or 3 for you to watch it for free with ads.
Oh.
So you'd just get it, like, a week or 2 later instead.
Oh, so you were able to still watch currently running shows, though?
Exactly, yes.
But now you can't at all.
Correct. Now you can't at all, and you're limited literally to just like their older specific catalog of shows as a free user.
Yeah, that is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, companies want to monetize, but I mean, at a certain instance, that's also a little anti-consumer because, like, you have to watch a show to know you like it, and you have to watch a show to spread word of mouth about a show. So I mean, if they want to disincentivize piracy, then I would have said, keeping, at least the currently watching, being able to watch a current run show should have been a benefit to them, because that gets people more hyped up for the next season. But then again, I don't know. I don't know the numbers on how often people go back and rewatch shows. There's a couple animes I've liked enough to rewatch. Some I haven't. So I don't know. It is kind of a bummer. You know what I mean? I definitely think, allowing a lot more people to watch it at, with ads would have been a perfectly good way to supplement income. But they for some reason they didn't believe that. So.
Well, my little running theory is that since they are gaining all the Funimation shows as well, they're gonna have a lot of like currently airing stuff, like almost all of it. So they probably wanted to like cut down on network costs and stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Since they're gonna have so many more shows that people are gonna be actively watching or wanting to watch. Also, they have basically a monopoly, so they can just force people to pay. It's not like we can do anything about it.
Yeah, as I said, I think for both reasons, the whole thing's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I mean, I would have wished that it would have been handled differently. Something, I don't know. But yeah, that sucks. That sucks. No, straight up, that sucks.
Big suck, dude.
It is big suck.
Yeah.
And then they get mad at people for. I'm not saying they shouldn't get mad at people for pirating, but I mean, if the content is out of the hands of most, then it's not a surprise when people do that. I mean, as I said, we've talked many times about how it's a lot easier to pay for something than it is to pirate something, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we're kind of hitting a turning point on piracy in general, because, like, for example, I watch Kamen Rider, right? Most Kamen Riders are not available in the U.S. However, some have been slowly being licensed and such, so I can actually pay and watch them.
Mhm.
However, the majority I may have to hit the high seas for.
Mhm.
Well, I used to be fairly protected. However, Japan is pushing for reforms and to have more like global licenses. So I wouldn't really be able to as legally acquire the Kamen Rider episodes anymore,
Yeah,
because
it's gonna be weird.
they would fall under the new rules that they're trying to set. There's no guarantee this goes through, of course, but if it does, it could be very problematic for both like anime and like anyone that wants something from Japan, right?
Yeah.
And if it's not licensed here, it would still technically be licensed. It's muddy. It's muddy at best.
Yeah. Like, in my perfect world, there would always be a small piracy market, but the actual market is consumer friendly enough where that's a better option. And yeah, I mean, now in the modern world of trying to like hyper monetize stuff, it seems like a lot of it's moving away from that, which is, a problem on both sides. Because I think it's a lot of times it ruins access to good content for a lot of people. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a more consumer friendly way to do it, but who knows? But yeah, that definitely sucks. I love the fact that anime is now mainstream in the US. Hell, I love the fact that like I don't have to go out and pay, $30 for a 3-episode DVD. Because that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be $10 an episode, man.
You mean a VHS?
I only bought
VHS with 2 to 3 episodes on it.
I only bought anime in the DVD days. But yeah, the VHS days were even worse. But yeah, I mean, the old like ADV days, you were paying like $30 for 3 to 4 episodes. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. So
I'm glad we're way past those.
Yep. You'd be paying like $90 to $100 for $90 to $120 for a whole season of a show. It was insane.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. So I'm glad we're past that. Like, depending on how rare the show was. Like, if it was a popular show, then yeah, you could find it for. That was cheap back then. If it was not a popular show, good luck.
Yeah.
You might have had to like import some like weird other region DVDs and like buy another region DVD player. There's some crazy shit that went on back then.
Oh yeah, you would import it from like the Philippines or something, because a lot of times the Philippines actually had like English subtitles on their stuff for some reason.
Yep. I think there was a whole like region 2 DVDs or something like that.
Yeah.
And like you had to have like a region 2 DVD player.
Yeah. But that was probably the cheapest, unfortunately, somehow.
Yeah. So like don't get me wrong, like the digital marketplace works cheaper for anime than how it used to be. But I definitely think it could still be more consumer friendly. But yeah, it's crazy out there.
At least we don't have to deal with the Funimation player anymore.
Yeah, I heard the Funimation player was trash. So
there's always a silver lining.
Yeah. You know what I'm kind of sad about? I was trying to bring this up to Matt though. Is like I'm sad that some cable. I mean, granted, maybe there's no money in it because I mean, money in cable is going away anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I want some like channel to bite the bullet and just be the anime channel. Like, I want an anime cable channel. How hard is that?
Oh, it's been attempted.
Yeah, it has. Has it been?
It's failed every time.
Has it? I never knew anyone even tried.
Yeah. No.
I know there was like the on-demand channels, but I never knew if there was like an actual like anime channel.
Yeah, well, like here in Washington, for example, we had the international channel, which had anime, and then we also had a dedicated on-demand anime channel, which had
didn't know that.
a bunch of stuff, but
yeah,
it didn't live very long. And then the international channel eventually just kind of stopped showing anime. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone miss the whole like? I mean, granted, one of the other things. I mean, we were going to talk about early, or we prepped for the podcast. I mean, we could push it another week. Was that the 25th anniversary of Toonami was coming up?
Oh yeah, it happened. It already happened.
Oh, it did already happen. I wasn't. I knew it was coming up. I didn't know it already happened. But yeah. I mean, a lot of us grew up in that Toonami era, where like late night Adult Swim, Toonami, those channels were the only way we kind of experienced anime in the States that was brought over. It ended up being the most popular stuff, but yeah, I mean, I loved experiencing anime in that form. I think kind of in the modern age of endless content, it's harder to find stuff because you're not just going to stumble upon it late at night anymore. Not really, because a lot of people don't even have cable. You kind of have to rely on like word of mouth. And if you're dialed into a good news source, sometimes that works. But I like just being able to like throw on a channel and having something cool pop on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a shame to miss that.
Yeah, I wish.
However, it's amazing how well like the like trailers and stuff for Toonami for animes hold up.
Yeah.
Like I was watching their remaster of the Gundam trailer. I'm like, this is still an amazing trailer.
Oh yeah.
Like
their Toonami bumps were fire. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any of the Adult Swim bumps are fire. Good. Adult Swim had like the best late night advertising or just meta programming of any channel. It was so funny. It was self-referential. It made jokes about itself. It was the perfect 1 or 2 a.m. late night content.
Pretty good, yeah.
So
kids get out of the pool. It's Adult Swim.
With that, guys, I think we should probably move a lot of this stuff over to next week.
For sure. Because
we don't have. We have way too much stuff.
Mr. Backlog's fallen asleep.
I fucking am too. Like, it's like I don't want to, but fuck is my body like sleep? Damn it! And I'm like, no.
Yeah. So yeah, let's let you get some sleep. And I guess call it Yeah, we can push some stuff over next week. I mean, all we had was like JoJo's and a couple other things like that.
That would be cool.
We actually had quite a bit.
We had a lot, yeah.
Did we? I can't remember what else.
If you guys were just shooting the shit, no, we have a lot.
We were just shooting the shit pretty much.
Yeah, like we didn't talk about the new Witcher game.
Oh yeah, we did.
Well, yeah, it's because you weren't
15.
Yeah, it's because you weren't here.
I mean, I'm the passionate Witcher guy, right?
So, yeah, you're the only person who gives a shit about Witcher.
I was going to talk about the new supermassive game they announced, The Quarry. Those are the same guys who made, Man of Medan. The one that's eluding my mind right now. What? That's that super famous game. Damn it!
Until Dawn.
Yeah, Until Dawn. Yeah, I love Until Dawn.
Quarry is what the new one's called.
Yeah, the Quarry. The Quarry is going to be their new Until Dawn, where it's going to be another big actor one that's long, not just short.
Yeah, that's neat.
So I was super excited about that. They have a couple big name actors in it. Yeah. We can talk about that. We can definitely push that till next week. There's a new Ghostbusters asymmetrical game. It's not asymmetrical. It looks like it's going to be kind of more like a Left 4 Dead, actually. But I'm excited. But yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm cutting content for next week. So yeah, let's save all this good stuff for next week.